Charming. Where did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of grey areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big grey area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. Ready to accept my fate? I believe in you, sis. That's right. Let me offer you a word of advice. Yes. The defense attorney should never believe their client. Excuse me. Oh, I guess, yeah. Should never believe their client, but should only believe the evidence. Something like that, I'm supposing. Defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. This guy, you remind me a lot of Mia. There's one decisive difference between you and her. And that is... you're the defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. Also, yeah, if in case someone is watching this on YouTube after it's uploaded there, probably, and you're wondering why the quote-unquote voicing stopped, it's because it was just hurting my throat too much. Pretty much. Okay. My first trial without the Fae helping me. Oh yeah, true. It's gonna be interesting. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there, so I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. For 23rd, 10 AM, District Court, courtroom number 9. Okay. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. It's oath. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings for today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Solana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but he was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. Doesn't feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Star, to stand. Cuff up Queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. Just is really wolfing it down. And for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Thanks. With Wright, please. Will the winner state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Oh man. Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running a lunch stand these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edsworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. However, as Mr. Edsworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Well, 2 years ago, Lieutenant Starr was a special investigator. Was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Starr was a detective? I know who you are. Cuff up. Cuff up Queen Angel Starr, you know. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose it's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutors' spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with his knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. Who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Working out with that sort. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright, I can agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush the little hope they have remained? If you can, then give them your worst, Mr. Wait, are they talking about me? God. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to Gary's car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointed tip of the knife into Detective Woodman's chest. Bring a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching. As you can see, there's no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife, which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely +1, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Let's start by pressing. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic appearance of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The landlady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, picking up a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Star, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? Just fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro. As you know, my testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well, you may continue, Miss Starr. boyfriend. He's a detective. But that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes. This boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? Oh my god. The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Not as well, just had to think before replying. Security guard room is in the lot, in block A, in A block. It's up on the second level so you can see everything from there. There'll be the room with the security sign. Additionally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? Felt like, how would you say? Oh yes. Just like the feeling you get when you weave a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Anita, speaking of detective's intuition. Wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. Young cheese? A pale white cheese, yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. And I must be hard. Yellow and sharp as a tack. With the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there, in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. By Gary's car, you mean? Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. An odd case this is. The person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant. I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you're a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fly you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You would cry plagiarism. I may be related to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. Photograph? You took this? Well then. The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes rigged with the camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, he's most certainly the defendant. Oh, there's unmistakably last guy. So, what was the defendant doing tonight? Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It's your knife after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can testify as to her ability to kill an egg, I mean a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife, but then... Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You didn't see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense is a point. Fortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. Next moment, Chief Prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flash wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that. I meant first. Hold on. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife. Savory said, yes. I swear on my fine salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. It's the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? And why is Miss Skye not holding a knife? Mr. Ellsworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the biggest objection ever. And not even the sound effect, my god. Yet, it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright. Even Mr. Ellsworth. This photograph was not taken at the moment before the stabbing. It was taken the moment after the stabbing, true enough. And how can you tell that? Blood. Blood spilled there. Huh? The dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat. It's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You have a better idea. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it. If you run out of lunch, you order second. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering a jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice, I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I need to have time to stop her. This guy was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, those gloves. Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it wasn't premeditated, she wouldn't be wearing those gloves. Those gloves do seem to tell tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, a serious offense. Witness, attest to your testimony. Like she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves. The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Star. Bad. Just got them thinking it was all planned. She can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show this so that this wasn't premeditated. It's only a flash from this right here. Witness, do you know what this is? You're trying to test me? I still box on this for a living, you know? It's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. So this case. Bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor before there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Prosecutors bad people. Defense has a request. Is that the witness provide an accurate testimony? What's that, rookie? The testimony stated that Lanaska planned this murder. And that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. Oh. These knives just happened to be in the trunk of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to plan a murder. If you're going, you don't want to forget. You don't forget the weapon. What the fuck, dude? What's with you? Order, order, order. Okay, now the tide is turning in our favor. Right, so Mr. Wright. My sister has good. No, not really, but I'm guessing we are gonna have 3 trial days after all, but still, like, yeah. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? You weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned, but over such a trifling detail. This is sure to hold in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Sky, murdered the detective with the knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need to prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. It wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Deduction. Anaska intended to murder the Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. That's a lie. There was someone from the police department of the prosecutor's office. Just some bubble like premeditation, doesn't it? So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In case, the defense may not prosecute me the witness. I'll still say though, just it goes. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? And I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Star. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. Autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Ah, you're right. Good show, Mr. Edsworth. But the hunk, he's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed. Oh man. Well, witness. You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one would ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. It splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. A red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. A red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck, so she can be easily hanged. At a moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. This guy was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait, is it odd that you mistook that for a splatter of blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. Just with a bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There's only one knife wound. Or maybe it was one knife wound with multiple stabs to the same wound. That be it. But how can you even aim that well? Like, aim the same spot twice? That makes no sense. Maybe Star isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. As for what I wonder, Star has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Sensing her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle. I mean, at more wax end, even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. You've said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. I believe what she just said was a mere prelude to the story she's about to tell. I'm trying to interrupt her again. Rookie. Never interrupt a storyteller. It's like pulling a bun out of the oven half baked. Something sounds like here, alright, and it's you. Turn to confuse the defense witness. They are not very quick on their feet. Oh, why did you believe the suspect has had intention to murder the victim? Speak for themselves. You have no proof that Miss Guy called him there. You have no proof that she didn't. Besides what? Thoughts. There's no record of a call made on the defendant. It's on Sky's phone. She might have written him a letter. Come on. You could have tried public phone first at least. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness. Why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? What kind of grunge? Well, I don't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have grunge. Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See, we agree there's a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels, don't you agree? I get it, that's why my lunch was so salty. This just isn't very good with metaphors. Suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Can you tell us your base for thinking this? It's simple. No. Confused. Oh, I'm dumb. Fuck, I didn't take the photo well enough. Miss Star, I demand an explanation. Witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing the scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you proved it yourself with this photograph. Ah, but that can't be. Only a professional landlady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations, perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. Then, Mr. Edgeworth prevailed. What was my objection to believe her? But it was there, a scarf. No, that was something red. Really? Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. That's about that. Very well. Do you remember some things accurately at least? Ultimately, we couldn't take the most important part of her testimony. But where were your sisters after the victim? This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Apprehended the suspect. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel's star, resistance is futile. But legitimate about the scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a... That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is some kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Self-surprise is weak against poisonous snake bite. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. She was beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rare. Very well, Mr. Wright. Cross-examination, if you will. You say quickly, very close to the suspect. As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details. Sure. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The unsigned car was a visitor, thus she was in parked in block B block. So we witnessed the murder from here. That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Star?
Yes, that's right. But
Chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing, the confab queen launch idea at lead, indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence. She couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. The fence was about 9 feet high too. So how did Miss Guy not get away? The Miss Guy tried to run. Sorry, my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright. Sorry as I am. But she didn't do it, you had to believe me. Okay, let's just press for now. So where's this partition of the floor plans? Sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There's a wall there, about 6 feet high. She's obviously trying to hide herself. But a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word. So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean. By phone, do you mean a cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory. It's like a cell phone heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. The wall? That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order, and so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testify? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. Things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Ah, I was going to ask the same thing. I only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order.
She put her own cell phone out of her pocket.
And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. And when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? prioritize. Consider this one. Oh wait, I already did this, yeah. But like... Be more specific. Brushed aside my hand and read. Terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pate of foie gras. Ah, tune kicked over an oil drum. There's an oil drum lying on its side that doesn't fry. It's strange. What's that? If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way? Parking lot entrance. That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the old drums. Excellent. More mysteries. I wish we could solve a few before finding more though. This guy tried to run. I'm sorry, my sister is so suspicious. I'm so confused. I'm so fucking confused. Hi Zancy, what's up? Trying to solve this case and like trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with the testimony here. Oh my god, fuck. Nothing makes sense here. Am I just not thinking it correctly? Oh my god, dude, what the hell? Did I try this already? Guess I did. The hell, dude? Hold on. Oh, okay, well. I guess my initial thought, because I googled this, but I guess my initial thought was more or less correct, but I just thought it wouldn't be. I don't know. Star, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Now, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Star, there's a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. True enough, though, I guess. But if she was already there, then I don't know. But didn't... What? I'm confused. I believe you see what I'm getting at. The emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in the block, you couldn't have seen it. I just told wrong, I guess. Order. What's the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. That's exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. Just lied about... what she's doing. In other words, she didn't see Sky using the emergency phone. It just seemed hard to imagine how she could have. Pretty logical. What's the matter, Star? Can't got your lunch, folks? Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory. But why would Miss Star lie like that? Huh? Why would she say that my sister tried to use the phone, but failed? Doesn't make any sense. Why lie about something so insignificant? Oh, yeah, she's right. I mean, maybe she really did see her try to use the emergency phone. There's no room for doubt here. You ordered a Tuyan prize, right? Mr. Bright, and I thought you had something there. One more try. I see it in your eyes. You haven't learned your lesson, have you? That's exactly what lying. Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. Let's say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location. Oh, fuck. A different location. Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask you a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Star witnessed this crime was... This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room. Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, wouldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony, you said you brought lunches to your boyfriend in the security guard room. Yes. Well, mister, how many years have I been getting the better of men? I think that the tables could be turned. Today a man has got the better of Angel Star. Order, order. Witness. What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make the justice prevails. Guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky? And Mr. Wright? Doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? Doesn't make sense. Huh? You could have just said she saw the crime from the security conversation.
It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. His photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. The truth still stands. But how did she even get that photo? She was in the security guard room. Objection! It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Swift. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Mr. witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? Why? The angle at which she saw the crime occur would change. The angle? What do you mean? Well, security guard station is on the second floor, and she would have sort of a more 3D view of the crime. It's important. Why? Well, for one, she would be on the opposite side and not on that side where the photo was taken. How can you not see that? What? Perhaps you'd like to reconsider, Mr. Wright. No, I wouldn't. Right, what? How do you... Mr. Wright, let's... How do you... What? What? I'm confused. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. I can understand, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see what would change, how that would change what she could see. She saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Star, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky? Well, witness? You. Yes. Ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a peanut butter and jelly lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for the boyfriend. I wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass wall station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Wow. Wow. That's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block. Wow. It's quite a detour. Wow. Just wow. Probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. For 5 minutes? This changes things considerably. Why was that woman over there in the defendant's cell who stabbed him? Stabbed. I know it, I have photographic evidence. I swear it. Stored on my finest plastic spork. You have a point. The spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. Oh, Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do you have any evidence to stop this? I need more evidence before I go sticking my spork in this mess. Caviar, how it makes my eyes tingle. Mr. Wright, no evidence can win against the raw power of caviar. It's a scientific fact. The only thing that's left is your strong presence and depth powers of deduction. Let's screw the lid back on those overpriced fish eggs. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time. If you like it al dente. A lunchbox that type pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene, hey? Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But he had the instincts of a killer. He would run. But this time was different. Miss Guy dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Well, it seems we come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it. We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. What? Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to post off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? It's another one of her trick lunchboxes. My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Mr. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Oh, a triple decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the luncheon motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time? Fuck. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was of course the victim's. The other blood type, that's that of the defendant, Miss London Sky. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. What? There was blood found on a shoe. Try luncheon for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. So I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed. Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is it right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. Edgeworth's sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. The general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. That's why this is looking pretty solid. We should at least study some evidence, or really. The prosecution's complaints, notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you witness. I think to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results. How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, 5 minutes blank means nothing. And why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the wild known as prosecutors. Classified evidence, earned testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. It's when the suspect is admitting she did it. False testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Mr. Let's just get this over with. And you found the shoe at the scene of crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon, if that should happen. Take this fashionable basket I have here. It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now that's what you did next. So you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And so you got away with your little coup because he used to be a detective. The funny thing is that we've presented plenty of evidence that wasn't approved per se. So like what? The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all.
Yeah, blood belongs to the victim, you good man.
As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with the blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Ah, well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just 1%, or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone's but Miss Lansky's. So suspect blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. I can't let these friends go through without a fight. Heard of the peppered fish guts, right? Sound like it hot, Mr. Wright. Sound like your client. She's eating enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. So, is it right? Do you or don't you have a problem with the shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? I'm not imagining things. Say there's one critical problem with this evidence, a clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish cut now. You couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is it contradictory about the victim's shoe? What's the problem with this evidence? didn't even. Oh, okay. If you notice, there's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Mess with me, rookie. There'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. Makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? I'm guessing your shoe is blood on it too, you just shot yourself in the foot. Oh. Kick. Well then. Examine evidence. Yeah, fine. Let's bring this written as testimony, shall we? How about no? Just chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Good try. Problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha. As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. Contradicts your claim about the shoe. This picture only shows blood of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edward? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the child. Order. Well, witness, what? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. I don't know why it's not there. I'm so good at finding contradictions. What? I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. She slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she is beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. I love her. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This old room, was it empty? Oh, that, I'm not sure like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. So apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the old room empty? The old room kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Wow. Water. What does that mean? I don't get it, Mr. Red. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha. You don't mean. Yes, the suspect knocked over that old room for one reason, and one reason alone. To erase the blood since it would become evidence against her. Well, shit. That ties things up quite nicely. Bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clear to this murder. And after the deed was done, she knocked over the alarm to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. It reminds me, this guy's right hand was hurt. And she says she'd cut herself when she stabbed him. That's when my sister's blood got on the shoe. Well, there's no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please! What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... enough. There's no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. And the star is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant dishonest guy. Little girl, what did you just say? Me? Did you say that I, Into Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well. I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another unspoken is called evidence. Wait, don't tell me you have something else? The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare me. Scare the cup up queen. Look at this. Photograph. I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright. Wait, look at the asphalt in his photo. Hey, it's clearly wet. Raising the last rays of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this was what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right, wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself above the asphalt, take another good look. Don't give up, not only the bitter end. Here's the last piece of evidence. Very well, this time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Your Honor, wait. Why is it being people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph. The last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Shall court report on this one. It's pro- Oh my god. That wasn't it. Mr. Wright, let me give you a piece of advice. When you point at something, at least remember to keep your eyes open. I believe she's trying to say that dude. So Mr. Wright, think scientifically. try not to either. Fuck. What am I trying to... My god. Thought the chord's a problem in the photograph. What is the problem in the photograph? My brain is small. Not that either, huh? Wait, what? Okay, it was. What was the first? What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Esfeld. Ignore. Just sit muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. The muffler is also a part of a car or motorcycle order. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. Was that suspicious looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Star, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us that this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth is in the muffler is related to this case. Star, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. Yes, the muffler. That's what had me confused in my advertisement. Yeah. Muffler. Yeah. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh, no. Well, it seems that we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. If that was close. But you made it, at least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hungry. To be continued. Yes. Okay. Yes, I like this. Okay, there we go. Oh my god. $56 AM. Then we can on that and then